It's the last day of August and the eve of September. Welcome to Africa Speaks, a show that's about all things African. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. On this day, August the 31st, in 1923, Rwanda-Urundi is made a Belgian protectorate that now are neighboring countries, those two, and that form Burundi and Rwanda. And in 1955, on this same day, a UN brokered ceasefire for the Gaza border dispute with Israel is accepted by Egypt. Egypt today remains divided over sovereignty. Now, at least 23 people died in flash floods following torrential rains in Mali's capital, Bamako, and thousands were also made homeless as Niger River burst its banks, destroying around 100 homes in several hours of rain. These and other stories on Web City. President John Mahama of Ghana has expressed confidence in the political maturity exhibited by Ghanaians as a demonstration to the rest of the world that Ghana is prepared to lay her own foundation. This Mahama said after the Ghanaian Supreme Court dismissed the petition filed against his election by three leading members of the NPP. The 2012 presidential candidate of the NPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, and two others had challenged the validity of the declaration of John Mahama as winner of last year's presidential election, alleging, among others, overvoting, use of duplicate serial numbers, and absence of presiding officers, as well as signatures on the pink sheets. Tanzanian government has requested President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda to intervene and redeem the ongoing diplomatic tension between Rwanda and Tanzania. Despite President Jakaya Kikwete's recent assertion that the two countries are not in any dispute, Rwanda has continued to be indifferent over the issue. Recalling Tanzania's part in the liberation of various African countries, its role in peacekeeping missions across the continent, and its continued provision of shelter for refugees, the Premier cautioned over the country moving from this humanitarian and peacekeeping role to one of antagonizing its neighbors. In Mali, Bamako residents living near the city's river on Thursday attempted to rescue what they could after flash floods killed at least 24 and devastated nearby neighborhoods, claiming people's belongings, vehicles, and livelihoods. Mali's riverside capital was struck on Wednesday when torrential rains washed away homes in several neighborhoods, affecting thousands. Some of the worst damage during Wednesday's flooding occurred in areas where houses had been built on land reserved for drainage. And that and a whole lot more is happening across the African continent. Now, for years, Africa has fed on Western music that has partly influenced the music produced by a good number of Africans. However, that is changing with time, and more people from the West and East are now feeding on African music. Now, there's just ladies, Chinese and Americans specifically, who actually did take some time, recorded a song by an African artist and sent it to my mail. And well, just take a look.
I got to go, I'll be shot and let you go. I got to go, I'll be shot. Unaniumiza sana, ninateseka, ndani moyoni mimi naumwa. I got to go, kaniende, I'll let you go. Sitaweza, nimevumilia sana, utaki change naona umeshindwa kubadilisha. I got to go, come away and let you go. Mkono unaniumiza sana, ninateseka, ndani moyoni mimi naumwa. I got to go, kaniende and let you go. Sitaweza, nimevumilia sana, utaki change naona umeshindwa kubadilisha. I got to go, come away and let you go. Pete ya Harris ninayooni yole, nilikupenda but baby sorry, utapata mwingine don't you worry. Aha, watoto tumezaa yote, tulipanga mimi na wewe milele, lakini nini unanichanganya, unanitanga, shida nyingi hatutoka sana. I got to go, can't get and let you go. Sana, not to say God,
Well, there we go. And I guess the trend is now changing. We're having more people from the West appreciating African music. And in case you have any video of this sort, you can as well send it to me, jdbafrican@gmail.com and also jbira@standardmedia.co.ke. Now, let's get to the platform where we do speak on certain issues. And this week, we're delving on innovation. And the best way to predict the future is to create it. That is one statement that many scientists today believe is true. As Africa rises above the rubble, creativity and potential of merit is being realized across the African continent. But is Africa doing enough to nurture innovation? And today on Africa Speaks, we host 3 Kenyan girls who, through a science experiment, have proven that tomatoes can produce electricity. But can they? The quest for affordable and reliable energy in Africa remains a tall order, with the continent mainly relying on hydro-generated electricity. Attempts for alternative sources of power have largely remained elusive. 15-year-olds Himanshi Segal, Supani Roy and 14-year-old Richa Nagda from Oshwal Academy in Nairobi are the 3 Kenyan girls and finalists of Google's Global Science Fair who, through a fact-finding scientific research, have proven that electricity can be produced from tomatoes.
We have chosen tomato water for this project because it has a higher specific latent heat that does not allow it to lose out its heat.
The TRIOS project delves into how electricity can be created through the transformation of solar energy into steam. Here, they demonstrate how electricity can be generated. Sun rays are tapped using a mirror, then reflected using copper metal, which is a good conductor of heat. This then directed to a container containing water squeezed from a tomato. It takes a shorter time to produce energy, which then moves the turbines and electricity is produced.
Rotten tomatoes or any tomato water has a higher latent heat. That means it retains its heat energy and it doesn't lose this. When it comes back from the cooling tower, it will retain the same amount of energy that it started with, unlike water or any other source of energy.
The girls believe since agriculture is the backbone for most African countries' economies, access to tomatoes would be easy.
It's going to benefit a lot of people since it's going to produce electricity. And most homes don't have electricity. It gets cut, and hydroelectric power cannot be relied on for so long.
African manufacturing enterprises experience power outages on average 56 days per year. As a result, firms lose 6% of sales revenues in the informal sector. Where backup generation is limited, losses can be as high as 20%. As Kenya looks towards wind power to generate more electricity, could tomato electricity be the answer to Kenya's and Africa's electricity to all? Well, welcome to the platform. And like I mentioned, we've got these very innovative girls here in studio with us. And I'll just ask my team to come over here so these girls can be able to introduce themselves. And they're just 3 of them. By the way, 2 of them are 14. I think one of them is turning 15 next month. Next month? Yeah. Oh yeah, next month. So we'll start here.
Yeah, hi, my name's Richa Nagda, and I enjoy reading books. I want to become an astrophysicist.
An astrophysicist.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move over.
Hi, my name is Shaprani Roy. I enjoy public speaking, debating, reading fiction, and writing, creative writing. I have a great interest for biology. I would like to major in it and probably do biophysics in my future.
How old are you?
I'm 15. Actually, I'm the oldest here.
15. Yeah. Great. And over there?
Hi, I'm Himanshi. I'm 14, and I like many things about science. I like researching about ideas and exploring the world for ideas.
How old are you?
I'm 14.
14.
Yes, I'm turning.
Great. And well, these young teens are here to tell us a whole lot that we actually do not know. And let's see, what is the name of the project?
Can heat and tomatoes produce electricity?
And can they produce
Yes, of course.
electricity? So the name of the project, Can Heat and Tomatoes Produce Electricity? That is what they're here to explain to us. And these girls are the finalists of a global Google Science Fair. And they came in what position? Was it the 19th position globally?
Top 90 finalists, and
yes.
plus Science in Action Award nominees, which were 15 around the globe.
Right. So Himanshi, Soup and Richa. Great. Now I just want Himanshi to demonstrate, first of all, where did the idea come from? How did you think about tomatoes in the first place, and how does it work?
Okay, the idea came from many sources. There's a lot of research behind it, a lot of hard work, and whereby we did many different things. We tried everything. We tried to know about liquids, and finally we thought about using the sun's heat, because we know that everyone uses the sun's light, but who has ever used the heat of the sun? And we thereby thought about using it in a way that it can be renewable and it can help many people in this country. So we thought about lenses. Lenses can raise the temperature of a substance up to 1,000 degrees, as we all know.
Right.
So we thought about concentrating the sun's rays using a convex lens, thereby putting it onto a metal, thereby heating it. Once the metal gets heated up, we have a liquid inside it, which is going to be our tomato water. It's going to get heated up and produce steam. And once the steam is produced, that's mostly half of the project. So then it comes out of these pipes, thereby turns turbines, and we have a cooling unit. So then it can produce a voltage, which we can identify from a voltmeter.
Okay. So in this case, I'm going to move over to Soup. Soup, I'd like you to tell me something. We're using tomato water, but why are we using tomato water?
Tomato water has more specific latent heat than normal water, which means that after when it comes back from the cooling tower, it will retain the same amount of heat energy that it started with, unlike normal water or any other source of energy, which is why tomato water conserves electricity, conserves energy.
Right. Racha, can you just explain to me why we're using tomato water and not water?
Okay, tomato water is a more efficient material compared to water, as it retains its heat energy and it makes the project more efficient.
Right.
So we don't have to waste on energy.
Great. So we don't have to waste on energy. And how many tomatoes do we need, say, to power up the entire country?
You see, at the moment our project is at an infancy stage, so we are trying to get accurate results and like accurate numbers to give you, but we know this much, that with 24 centimeters square of a lens with 2 tomatoes, they can produce steam in about 6 to 7 minutes, which is adequate enough to tell us that we will be able to light up the whole country if we have a good number of tomatoes, a bigger lens, and a sunny day.
Okay, and in this case you're saying that we actually, since we have a lot of tomatoes in Africa, it would be easy for us to produce electricity from them, yeah? Okay, so I need to clearly understand, if you can once again demonstrate to us and tell us how exactly we are going to see a light coming out of this entire process. Himanshi.
Now, once we have the sun available, we're going to concentrate the lights, as we know that lenses, they focus the light rays. And once the light rays focus, we have to make them fall on this point, whereby this copper gets heated up. And once this copper gets heated up, the system inside this is also made out of copper. So that copper will get heated up because of the sun's focus lights. And once that copper is heated up, we have a water in it, tomato water in it. And that tomato water will take some time, but it'll produce steam. And that steam will come out of this tube, thereby rotating the fan and then giving us the voltage here.
Great. So Richa, just tell me, water and tomato water, which one heats faster and how long does it take?
Okay, tomato water heats up faster and it takes up less time, as it's more efficient, as I said before. It depends on different tomatoes that to know how long it takes, but from as far as we know, that it doesn't take as long as water does.
Right. And do we need fresh tomatoes, rotten tomatoes? What kind of tomatoes do we need?
Any type of tomatoes is okay, because fresh tomatoes are expensive, so you can also use rotten tomatoes, since it also contains water.
Yeah, that also makes our project environment friendly.
It is environment friendly. So in this case, if we do not have the sun, for instance, now that we are in a studio setting, do you think we can light this up?
Oh, okay, every project has a challenge, so this is our challenge, that we need sunlight. But then again, we're on the equator, we get the most sunlight, and during summer we have sunlight for about 14 hours a day, so I think that would be enough, again, because we don't have to keep on replacing the tomatoes. As I said before, it retains its heat energy, so I think it's not that big a problem, and I said we're trying to develop this project, probably we'll overcome this challenge.
Okay, in case you're watching us right now, we're speaking to 3 teenage girls, 14, 2 of them, and 1 is 15, and they're telling us here that they're convincing us, and they've proven that tomato water or tomatoes can produce electricity. We're using the hashtag tomato electricity here on Africa Speaks, and we're actually asking a question: is Africa doing enough to nurture innovation on the continent? Because we're seeing teenagers coming up with these innovations, but are we doing enough as an African continent to nurture this talent? And we're having Luis Alosa on Twitter, who is saying, can I get a link? Well, this is something totally different. We're having Tella Abala, who is saying, these are great people with great minds. And well, there we go. Just tell me, how exactly did you think of the idea of submitting this to the Google Science Fair?
It was during our summer holidays. I was at home, and I was going through a Google website and doing my projects and other school projects, and thereby I met this advertisement: it's your chance to change the world. So thereby it was like really like exciting. So I visited the site, I saw how Google Science Fair is going on, and I saw many like rules and how it's been there last years and stuff. Then I approached my friends and I asked them, do you guys want to help me with this project? And they said yes, of course. And we met, we did a lot, we helped each other, supported each other throughout, and we came up with this. And they were like, if someone makes a mistake, the other one corrects it, the other one helps, so everyone's knowledge counted, and we came up with this.
How long did it take for you to come up with the entire experiment?
Well, it took 2 to 3 months, yes, because that was the period of Google Science Fair itself.
Yeah, it took 2 to 3 months.
And Rach, I would like to hear from you. If we're looking at the Kenyan perspective, I'm sure if Kenya is going to take up this model of using tomatoes to produce electricity, how beneficial do you think this is going to be?
It's going to be really good for the country, since it's a environmental friendly project, so it's like really helpful, since we are not polluting the environment. There's a lot of global warming, and we're doing our best to stop it, so this project will be really helpful to produce electricity and to make the environment a better place.
As the next generation, we do feel like responsible for conserving the environment. We don't want to leave a bad place for the next generation, so this is like a stepping stone for protecting our environment.
Okay, and Himanshi, is this sustainable?
Yes, of course. It's environment friendly, it's cost friendly, and obviously it does not pollute. And yes, it's very sustainable, because in a country like Kenya, we depend on agriculture a lot, so it's really meant for countries like Kenya.
Soup, I would like to hear from you. I know you've always talked about tomatoes and all of that. Just tell me, if Africa was to use tomato electricity, I'm sure we're going to need a lot of tomatoes, right?
Yeah, we will need a lot of tomatoes, but then again, we're not asking for fresh tomatoes right from the farm. We can use rotten tomatoes as well, which is the environment-friendly part. And we made this project obviously keeping perspective of our country, Kenya, solving the scarcity of electricity. But then again, we would like to help other countries as well. Take Spain, for example. They splash and waste so many tomatoes in the Tomatina festival, thousands of them. Imagine if they were used to produce electricity, we would do wonders. There'll be so much.
Interesting. Yes.
Something to add on that. We can always have a cooling unit that the tomatoes keep on rotating in the system. So once it's like a long-term investment. So once you just put in the tomatoes, they can always last you for long, because once the fan is done, the steam is going through, we can always have a cooling unit which brings it back to the container that contains the tomato water.
Right.
So that's why it's going to.
So someone tell us about the future of this project. Where do you think it is headed? Do you think that if Africa adopts it, it's going to work?
Okay, it definitely is going to work. The future of this project is currently we're going to try and develop it, overcome the challenges, take part in other competitions, try and find out if we can make, we know this is going to work. We need to convince others that this is going to work.
Right.
And moreover, we would really appreciate if any organization, our government for instance, would sponsor us and try and make this on a larger scale, because it would not only be good for the population of Kenya, the citizens, but for everyone. We'll prove an example to the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Risha, what would you like to say as we wind up this?
Okay, I'd like to say we've tried to change the world and make it a better place. So we'd like everyone to support us, and we're proud of ourselves.
Great. Himanshi?
I'd only like to encourage all of us, like all the children and all the students out there, that always try. There's no limit. The sky is the limit. So please, like, keep on trying and make Africa a better place.
Okay. Well, from the tweets I'm seeing here, we're having James Muturi, who is saying, big up the girl. Can they repeat it practically? I didn't watch. And Atur, I guess, is saying, I am an engineer, and all I can say is those girls are creatively awesome. And Kennedy Wandera is saying, this is a great mind. The government need to invest heavily in this. I salute these young ladies. And we're also having Anthony Nyasimi, who is saying, throughout history, people with new ideas and innovation have always changed the world. Those girls are heroes. And we're having Sultan of Swag with the Twitter handle at HarryHurry1, who is saying, great minds will be wasted on African soil. We believe more in Chinese than our own, but this is a good innovation. And we are having at Ernest Marshall 1, who is saying, may the kids demonstrate how to counter the different positions of the sun. Do we need the sun coming from a specific direction for this to work, or any direction as long as it can be captured onto the copper metal?
Well, for that same question had come up before, so therefore we thought about mirrors. And as you can see, we can always concentrate, but now the sun keeps moving the whole day.
Can you just point the mirror to the side, to the front? Yes. Great.
And once we have that, we can always reflect the rays, and in a way that they always fall on top of the lens. And if they fall on the lens, we can always focus it.
Right.
So that's why we have thought about mirrors as well in the
We've taken every precaution we could.
Okay, so just tell me something about how many tomatoes are these right here? Two tomatoes.
Average, actually medium, yeah.
And how many volts do we get out of 2 tomatoes if you've tested this?
Okay, this project is at infancy stage. At the moment, we are not able to get any volts, but yes, it works because the steam is produced. And always we are working on it, and we wish to come up with a number soon.
Right. Okay, I would like to hear from you finally as we wind up here, before I can read a few more tweets. What do you want to be in future when you grow up? Do you really want to be the person who invented tomato electricity, Richa?
Yeah, I would like that. I'd also like to invent many different things. As Google said, it's your turn to change the world, so I'll do my best to change the world, make it a better place.
Great. Richa is 14 years old. Now, so what would you like to say as we wind up?
First of all, I'd like to thank my school, my parents, Himanshi's parents, Richa's parents for being so supportive, our friends, our teachers. We wouldn't have done this alone. And I want to first make my country a better place, because I believe charity begins at home. If I can do that, I can make the world a better place. I want to come up with cures for various diseases that affect people and help them.
Interesting. And Himanshi?
Well, I wish to work more, make more projects, come up with other ideas, work with my friends, and always have fun.
Okay. And how's the attention been since you were, nominated for the science fair, the Google Science Fair? I'm sure your lives have changed a lot, yeah?
Yeah, it's become more fun.
Yeah, it's become more fun
and interesting.
But at the same time, we're going to have more competition, so we have to work harder.
Great. And well, these right here are the girls who are changing the world, yet to change the continent. If the Kenyan government can really look into this model of producing electricity, probably we wouldn't have to degrade the environment even further, since they say rotten tomatoes as well can produce electricity. I'll wind up with about 2 tweets here. Linda Atieno Owino is saying, Africa is making effort to enhance innovation. More opportunities need to be available through educational institutions. And we're having Collins Mutai, who is saying, young, brilliant minds, you got there. Well, thank you so much. And Sophia Wanuno is Wanuna is saying, great discussion, intelligent girls on Africa Speaks KTN. Well, and we'll wind up here. Is this latent heat, is it so much in generating electricity? That is a question that just came in there. But I guess, yes, latent heat is very essential when it comes to generating any kind of heat in this case, and electricity would be the basis. Well, we've come to the end of the show. We're out of time, but this conversation continues online. Remember, we were using the hashtag Tomato Electricity and Africa Speaks. We asked the question, is Africa doing enough to nurture innovation on the African continent? And that conversation is going to continue. The girls that I hosted in studio today are Himangshi Segal, who is 14, going on 15, and we have Suparni Roy, who is 15 years old, right there in the middle, and we have Risha Nagda right here, 14 years old. These girls study at Oshwal Academy in Nairobi, and the other girls who are yet just about to change Kenya's world as well as Africa's world. Thank you all for watching. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Have a good afternoon and God bless.